Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone, back to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns, and we have a lot of stuff I want to discuss today. Of course, we're going to talk about the GOP debate that just happened last night. We have one winner and several losers of that debate. Also, we know that Trump did not participate in the actual debate. He was with Tucker Carlson interviewing or Tucker Carlson was interviewing Donald Trump yesterday. So we'll talk about that. We got some highlights that I want to discuss about the GOP debate, and also we'll get some commentary from some liberal news media outlets to see who they think was the winner of this debate. So on my screen, I'm sharing with you some of the highlights from my Twitter account. You guys, I didn't actually watch the debate. My internet service was down. That's why I wasn't live yesterday, because we had a bad storm rolling through our area. Actually, it's still kind of thunderstorming. So if the internet seems kind of janky and if it's going in and out, it's probably on my end because we have some weather that's coming in. Anyway, so they're saying Vivek Ramaswamy stole the show. And from what I've seen, he actually stole the show, because I noticed since he's not a politician, and Donald Trump is the same way, he's not a politician, they tend to not give you politically correct answers. They just straight shooters, straight from the hip. They're not going to beat around the bush, and they don't care how you feel about them. And Vivek Ramaswamy demonstrated that last night. He stood firm on what he believed in. He didn't look around to see, okay, what are you guys going to answer? So there were several questions that the moderator asked them on whether, number one, whether or not if they wanted to, or if they would support Donald Trump if he was actually convicted of a crime. And, there was several people on stage. Tim Scott was one of them. Vivek, he raised his hand. And I believe Nikki raised her hand. But, Governor Christie, Ron DeSantis, they all waited okay, what are you guys going to choose? Which was kind of like, what are you doing? Just say yes or no. Would you support just say yes or no. But I guess they're probably wanting a job. So they're, tiptoeing through the tulips per se, because they don't really want to say how they feel. But if you don't like Donald Trump, this is your own free will. You don't have to necessarily like the man. And if you don't like him, you don't need to support him. Even Mike Pence, he was waiting for people to say, okay, what would they? Okay, let me raise my hand, which is totally ludicrous. And also several questions about Ukraine. So let me get to one of the highlights that we could talk about. This is Vivek Ramaswamy and Mike Pence interaction. And it's kind of hilarious because Vivek Ramaswamy, like I said, he was straight shooter to the point. He didn't waver about his answers. And all the other opponents, either they didn't even speak or they just didn't, they wasn't memorable. Let's put it that way. They were not memorable. So this is Mike Pence. Let me turn.
Issues like Social Security and Medicare. I mean, Vivek, you recently said a president can't do everything. Well, I got news for you, Vivek. I've been in the hallway. I've been in the West Wing. A president of the United States has to confront every crisis facing America. I will put our nation back on the path to growth and prosperity and restore fiscal responsibility, just as I did in Congress and as governor,
Mr. Vice President,
and when I was vice president.
But
yeah, I mean,
hold on.
You were named earlier. I'm going to give Vivek first.
We'll get to both of them.
This isn't that complicated, guys. Unlock American energy. Drill, frack, burn coal, embrace nuclear. Put people back to work by no longer paying them more to stay at home. Reform the U.S. Fed, stabilize the U.S. dollar, and go to war. The only war that I will declare as U.S. president will be the war on the federal administrative state that is the source of those toxic regulations acting like a wet blanket on the economy. So I'm not sure I exactly understood Mike Pence's comment, but I'll let you all parse that out. For me, it's pretty simple. That's something a U.S. president can do with focus, and I'll deliver on it.
Well, let me explain it to you. Vivek. You got people.
So, and you know what? And this is what I'm saying. Like, oh, I will restore the economy, blah, blah, blah. But you're not explaining exactly what you're going to do. You're like, okay, well, you know, you got to work with other people. But still, what are you running on? And that's the problem. They really missed the mark on these types of questions. So like Vivek, he totally owned him. You know, it's just like you've been part of this rodeo before. You should have been like still in the spotlight. But of course, this younger guy, Vivek, is only 38. I think they said he's the youngest ever to run for president. So like, you know, we could go over and on all his clips that he was very clear and concise
of actual climate.
This is talking about climate change, and I agree with this sentiment. Okay, if you believe in climate change, yeah, okay, we need to do some other stuff so we won't depend our energy or resources on other countries. But I totally disagree. You're trying to put a lot of people out of work. You're trying to say, what if we're a capitalist country and we believe in a home of the free, land of the brave, but now you have regulations and government controlling of what you can produce and sell. I mean, you're not selling drugs. But Larry Elder just pointed out when he was on the Breakfast Club, he said in California, the governor Newsom said, "Oh, we're banning sale of gas-powered vehicles by 2035." And it's like, okay, so you're just trying to put people out of business, but you're not giving no alternative, which is totally ludicrous. You just want people just to depend on the federal government.
People are dying of bad climate change policies than they are of actual climate change.
Governor Haley, are you bought and paid for?
Down by
Hold on.
in the last century.
Listen. Hold on.
I've had enough already tonight.
Check this out. That Governor Christie, go sit down and eat somewhere, because you don't really make no sense. But check this out. This is totally ludicrous.
Of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT standing up here. And the last person in one of these debates, Brett, who stood in the middle of the stage and said, "What's a skinny guy with an odd last name doing up here?" was Barack Obama. And I'm afraid we're dealing with the same type of amateur standing on stage tonight.
Come over and give me a hug. Give me a hug just like you did to Obama.
The same type of amateur.
And you'll help elect me just like you did to Obama, too. Give me that
the same
hug,
type of amateur.
Hold on.
People are.
And so Governor Christie tried to, one up him, but like what was the point of that? He called him ChatGPT. Actually, it was pretty funny, but like I said, that wasn't his point. We're talking about climate change, and you're trying to throw out insults about which is entertaining, But why would you compare him to Obama? And are you saying they look alike? Because they totally don't have the same politics. So maybe that's just what, he was trying to do to steal the spotlight. Let me go to Nikki Haley and what she says. Like I said, Nikki Haley, she's not. She wants to so much to be like that identity politics. I can't remember what platform I was listening to her on, but she mentioned like, oh, I'm a brown girl. I grew up in this city or in America just like you as a brown girl, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, can you do the job? Who cares if you're a brown girl? Who cares if you're a green girl? Can you actually do the job? You're running for the president of the United States. And I see you trying to win over women. Maybe that's probably why she said that. But you're going to be the leader of the free world. Can you actually do the job? And I don't think Nikki has it in her to do the job. And I think she always contradicts herself in some of the statements that she makes. So this is Nikki Haley.
The truth. The truth is that I don't care about polls. What I care about the fact is that no one is telling the American people the truth. The truth is that Biden didn't do this to us. Our Republicans did this to us too. When they passed that $2.2 trillion COVID stimulus bill, they left us with 90 million people on Medicaid, 42 million people on food stamps. No one has told you how to fix it. I'll tell you how to fix it. They need to stop the spending. They need to stop the borrowing. They need to eliminate the earmarks that the Republicans brought back in. And they need to make sure they understand these are taxpayer dollars. It's not their dollars. And while they're all saying this, you have Ron DeSantis, you've got Tim Scott, you've got Mike Pence. They all voted to raise the debt. And Donald Trump added $8 trillion to our debt. And our kids are never going to forgive us for this. And so at the end of the day, you look at the 2024 budget, Republicans asked for $7.4 billion in earmarks.
So she's talking about the spending, and I agree with her sentiment. Yeah, the spending is kind of out of control, and we do need to balance the budget. And not to take up for Donald Trump, he didn't know it was going to be a pandemic, so either you said you got all these states, they went on and shut everybody down, businesses down, you couldn't work, you couldn't make any money. Okay, so how are you expecting the people to live? So that's where that spending is coming from. But, on the other hand, they're still spending. They're giving money to Ukraine. And the people in Hawaii, which is our people, Hawaii, they're part of the United States of America. They gave them $700 a household. And they're probably, what is the new word? Houseless. They're out of a house, out of a home. But we stand steady, spending our taxpayer dollars going to Ukraine. So
I don't care about polls. What I care about the fact is that no one is telling the American dollars. And while they're all saying this, you have Ron DeSantis, you've got Tim Scott, you've got Mike Pence. They all voted to raise the debt. And Donald Trump added $8 trillion to our debt. And our kids are never going to forgive us for this. And so at the end of the day, you look at the 2024 budget, Republicans asked for $7.4 billion in earmarks. Democrats asked for $2.8 billion. So you tell me who are the big spenders. I think it's time for an accountant in the White House.
Vice President.
I don't care about polls. What I care about the fact is that no one is telling the American people the
And so I do agree with what she's saying. They do need to cut the spending out and everything. that she's talking about, yeah. But like I said, she's always, she's not she's not, I don't think she's genuine, and I just don't like her as a president. I don't know her as a person, but I don't get the warm and fuzzy feeling about her.
In all of America, that's reality. And that person can't win a general election, and we can't. He's going to spend more time in a courtroom than he's going to spend on the campaign trail. We cannot allow a President Kamala Harris. We have to win that general election. And in order to do that, you can't do that with someone who literally 3/4 of the American people don't want to see Biden and Trump run again. And the majority of Americans, he is the most disliked politician in all of America. That's reality. And that person can't win a general election, and we can't afford to have Kamala Harris become our president.
So she's speaking on Donald Trump. She's saying Donald Trump is the most disliked person as a politician. I don't think so. I think you have them way more extreme on the other side that don't like him. I think you have super supporters of him. And I think now that we have Biden in office, the people that didn't support Trump are starting to say, okay, well, maybe Trump was doing right. Less commentator, less commentating from Trump. If he spent less time talking, as far as he's an entertainer. So less entertainment and more doing the work, because I think he did do a good job as president. Anyway, moving forward. So we have another highlight. Let me see if I can find this. This is, let me see, what was this one about?
We are really just the same as Americans. I was born in.
This is just his introduction, which I appreciate, because Vivek, in America, we want to celebrate, your differences and blah, blah, blah. It's not wrong with that, to celebrate your culture. But he pointed out, we live in America. We all Americans. We breathe the same air. We all bleed the same blood. You probably got a different blood type, but we all bleed. And instead of celebrating our differences, we need to celebrate. And I think that's where we will come together, celebrate of how we have a common ground with one another, because we're all human and we're all Americans. So this is his introduction.
In 1985, and I grew up into a generation where we were taught to celebrate our diversity and our differences so much that we forgot all of the ways we are really just the same as Americans, bound by a common set of ideals that set this nation into motion in 1776. And this is our moment to revive those common ideals. God is real. There are two genders. Fossil fuels are a requirement for human prosperity. Reverse racism is racism. An open border is not a border. Parents determine the education of their children. The nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to man. Capitalism lifts us up from poverty. There are 3 branches of government, not 4. And the U.S. Constitution, it is the strongest guarantor of freedom in human history. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what will win us the revolution of 2024. Thanks for letting me introduce myself tonight. Thank you.
And he's charismatic, and people tend to like him. At least, it sounds like they liked him. Linnell said Vivek sounds like a Trump wannabe. Linnell, leave Vivek alone. Cal said Vivek was accurate yesterday when he said that the others are paid and bought for. Some of the candidates know that they will lose and want to show on maybe MSNBC. MSNBC. Yeah, they're bought and paid for. I think most of these politicians are bought and paid for, especially on this stage. I think it was absolutely ridiculous of, when you ask a question and, you're looking down to see, okay, what are my other opponents answering? Like, why can't you make a decision? Why are you teetering on the fence? Anyway. This is Vivek about the establishment GOP.
In a court of law, all signed a pledge to support the eventual Republican nominee. If former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would.
President Trump, I believe, was the best president of the 21st century. It's a fact. And Chris Christie, honest to God, your claim that Donald Trump is motivated by vengeance and grievance would be a lot more credible if your entire campaign were not based on vengeance and grievance against one man. And if people at home want to see a bunch of people blindly bashing Donald Trump without an iota of vision for this country, they could just change the channel to MSNBC right now. But I'm not running for president of MSNBC. I am running for president of the United States. We're skating on thin ice, and we cannot set a precedent where the party in power uses police force to indict its political opponents. It is wrong. We have to end the weaponization of justice in this country.
30 seconds, Governor DeSantis.
Let me tell you
I'm sorry. 30 seconds, Governor Christie.
You make me laugh because
Goes both ways, brother.
you sit here in an answer. You sit here in an answer right.
Hold on one second.
You sit here in an answer.
He can't even get his answers out because they was booing him. It's like when you lost the debate, when the crowd started booing you. This is like bad for him. They started booing him. Like, what is the problem? I don't know what this was about. It says Nikki Haley is America last. It's not the Israeli needs America. America needs Israeli. That's what she said. Let me pull
Israel
this
needs
up.
America. America needs
I want to learn from those and apply those to protect our homeland, Nikki.
Israel
that is the
needs
answer.
America. America needs Israel.
Okay.
I want to learn from those and apply those.
So she's saying America needs Israel. I don't know why you would say that. But whatever. So I think I got through most of the highlights. There was one more I wanted to show you guys, but I don't know if I saved that. I don't know if I saved that. Okay, this is Ron DeSantis before I get to this other Vivek Ramaswamy. This is Ron DeSantis talking about the lockdown and what he did. I could appreciate what the state of Florida did because he was totally different. Everyone, especially in Michigan that I knew that had a property in Florida, they said, oh, we're not staying in Michigan because we're locked down. They're not locked down in Florida. So I could appreciate what he's saying here in this particular clip. And he's really talking about the deep state.
In this mess, part of it, and this is the thing. Here's the thing. Why are we in this mess? Part of it, and a major reason, is because how this federal government handled COVID-19 by locking down this economy. It was a mistake. It should have never happened. And in Florida, we led the country out of lockdown. We kept our state free and open. And I can tell you this, as your president, I will never let the deep state bureaucrats lock you down, you don't take somebody like Fauci and coddle him. You bring Fauci in, you sit him down, and you say, Anthony, you are fired. Here's the thing.
You could tell that was practice. Like, you don't like Donald Trump, but you're using Donald Trump, you trying to steal his thunder because Donald Trump says that you are fired. But he spoke up, some of these highlights, all you see is Vivek in it. Vivek Ramaswamy stole the show, and it's undeniable that he was the leader of this debate. Now, this is Vivek talking about Zelensky.
The Russia-China alliance.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you would not support an increase of funding to Ukraine?
I would not. And I think that this is disastrous, that we are protecting against an invasion across somebody else's border when we should use those same military resources to prevent across the invasion of our own southern border here in the United States of America. We are driving Russia further into China's hands. The Russia-China alliance is the single greatest threat we face. And I find it offensive that we have professional politicians on the stage that will make a pilgrimage to Kyiv, to their Pope, Zelensky, without doing the same thing for people in Maui or the south side of Chicago or Kensington. I think that we have to put the interests of Americans first, secure our own border instead of somebody else's. And the reality is, this is also how we project strength by making America strong at home.
And you could tell Vivek, he debates all the time. You could tell that was his thing in college. He likes debating. But he stood firm on his ground. Like I said, he stole the show. Now, I got one more clip. And let me see. I think this is it. This is Vivek Ramaswamy.
How would you deal with the crisis?
This is about a crisis on educational crisis in family households.
So to the education question, how would you deal with the crisis?
So look, we have a crisis of achievement. Let's shut down the head of the snake, the Department of Education. Take that $80 billion, put it in the hands of parents across this country. This is the civil rights issue of our time. Allow any parent to choose where they send their kids to school. End the teachers' unions at the local level to allow public schools to compete. And then revive our national identity where every high school senior should have to pass the same civics test that, frankly, every immigrant, including my mother, had to pass in order to become a citizen of this country. And the fact of the matter is, look, there's a part of education policy that also rests with the family. I didn't grow up in money, but the word privilege gets used a lot. Well, you know what? I did have the ultimate privilege of two parents in the house with a focus on educational achievement. And I want every kid to enjoy that. So part of the problem is we also have a federal government that pays single women more not to have a man in the house than to have a man in the house, contributing to an epidemic of fatherlessness. And I think that goes hand in glove with the education crisis as well, because we have to remember education starts with the family, and the nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to mankind.
I mean, you can't get mad at that. You can't get mad at that. So let's look at these stats before I get to MSNBC, because they had comments about the debate. Really, Joy Reid, I don't know why she is putting her 2 cents in, but it's not worth 2 cents. This interactive poll just came out. Let me make sure you guys could see this. Now, okay, so the primary, this is where they stand as of this morning or last night after the debate. Trump wasn't even there. Trump was not even there. And he's at 60%. At 60%. Ramaswamy, he's at 13. Ron DeSantis, he's tanking. Be at the week of August the 7th. Let me pull this up. Make sure you guys can see this. The week of August the 7th, Ron DeSantis was at 15%. He was polling at 15%, but he's dropped down 7 points. 7 points. Vivek, he went up by 3%, so he's at 13%. Vivek took the lead over Ron. You got Christie. I'm surprised Christie, he went up, but he's at 5%. Tim Scott, he's down. Nikki Haley went up, and Mike Pence, he went down. Tim Scott, was he even at the debate? Tim Scott, he was like the silent debater. He didn't even make any waves. I couldn't find any clips from him. So he's not going to be in there. It's between Donald Trump, Vivek, and Ron DeSantis. And Ron DeSantis, I think Vivek is slowly getting Ron DeSantis' share. Actually, it's probably Ron, as Ron goes out, and I'm talking about Ron DeSantis, as he goes out and talks about Donald Trump, I think it's messing his campaign up. I think he shouldn't even attack Donald Trump. Just go on your talking points. Don't attack your other opponent. Matter of fact, be supportive of your opponent. And I think that will be, I think it will help his campaign if he does that. Right now, he's attacking Donald Trump and is very detrimental to his campaign. And you can see that. He drops from 15 to 8%. And I believe he was on whatever news network, and he was talking about Donald Trump. It's just hurting him. He's going on his campaign trail, promoting going into Iowa. You talking about Donald Trump, it's not helping you. It's not helping you to talk about him. Vivek, clearly people likes him because he's saying he likes Donald Trump. So that's helping his race. And you see, started in June, he was at 3%. Now he's at a whopping 13%. That's really crazy to me. And it's probably more because I said this was for last week or this last night, but this is actually for last week, the 14th. So anyway, that's the polls. Now, who's the real winner of the debate? The guy that wasn't there. The guy that wasn't there was the real winner because Trump, they say him and Tucker Carlson on that episode, they got like 200 million views. Not at that time, but they posted it on Twitter. 200 million views. Who pulling numbers in? I guess when they first uploaded it, it was like 33 million views in the first 30 minutes, which is really ridiculous.
I don't really.
This is Joy Reid. She's saying that she don't feel like the cabinet members in Trump administration, they all feel like they could be cabinet members in Trump administration. none of them struck me personally as someone who could actually be president. Joy Reid, you are insane because you support Biden and you think Biden could be your president. Biden, the guy who doesn't remember how to formulate a sentence. So anything that comes from your mouth, I don't take it as value. And plus, let me get on this head. Who wears this color hair? What color is this? This look like it might be a quick weave. But who says that was okay for you to wear? Is it gray? It's not gray. It's not blonde. What is it? Are you, what is going on with this head? It's really offensive to me. Because I don't know what color you're trying to portray. It's pinkish gray. I really don't understand. And maybe it's because of the red background. But I don't like her hair. I don't like what she's saying, and I don't like her hair. But let's see what she's talking about.
We understand why they did that tonight, because I'm not sure what any of them are running for. Because
did you not listen? Okay, I could understand some of the other opponents, but did you not listen? Even Ron DeSantis, he had some points that he pointed out, but did you not actually listen to?
Felt like,
you know, it's like, are you just saying that because you don't like their political affiliation? Let's call it out. You don't like their political affiliation, and you're saying this because you're trying to discredit them to make them seem like, or to your audience, because you got to play to your audience. Most of your audience is liberal, the liberal people, that's Democrats. So they didn't watch the GOP debate because they don't care about these candidates. You will only watch this debate if you're open mind, you're a free thinker, or you're affiliated with the party, you know. So of course you got to say something. Oh, I don't know why they said that. I don't know. I don't really know what they stand for. And in Vivek's opening speech, he named off 9 points that he stands for. And he's been saying that for the longest. So what are you talking about?
I don't really understand why they did that tonight, because I'm not sure what any of them are running for, because they all felt like they could be cabinet members in a Trump administration. None of them struck me personally as somebody who could actually be president, right? I mean, Burgum, I think his name is, seemed like a bored rich guy who said, you know what, I got nothing better to do. I got a lot of money. I paid to be here. I'm going to say some things. Christie, I thought was going to come across as sort of a bigger figure. I thought he was going to be more of a presence. I thought he kind of disappeared.
That's how you are on. That's how we know you're in La La Land. You have it. You're a political correspondent. That's how we know you're not paying attention to detail. Because why would you think Governor Christie was going to steal the show? Like, you don't really have your ears to the ground. If you thought Governor Christie or even Ron DeSantis was going to steal the show, Governor Christie probably will make some jokes, which he did, but you thought he was going to be like taking over? Really? Come on now. That's how we know you're not operating on Earth. You're just in La La Land, and you're not really paying attention to the detail.
Except for that clip, or when he did the Chat GPT line at Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy just seemed like sort of your annoying freshman roommate in college. And it's not clear what he was trying to do other than to be provocative at every moment that he could. And DeSantis was just yelling a lot. And I'm not sure why he was yelling and why he thinks that yelling made him seem that he had more stature than he did. But I mean, other than Nikki Haley, who I thought acquitted herself quite well, to be honest with you, and seemed like a reasonable Republican politician who kind of made sense.
Are we listening to? Are you saying that to Nikki Haley? Because Nikki Haley, I think she's been on MSNBC. Nikki Haley is the only woman. Are you saying that, Joy Reid? Identity politics. Vivek Ramaswamy, he's younger than you, so you don't like him because he's only 38. Is that why you're saying that? And maybe some people don't think Vivek Ramaswamy, like who was that in the chat? I think her name was Linnell. If you're still here, some people don't like him. But why are you saying that they didn't get their point across? I mean, you're saying that, they seem like they would be good cabinet members, like they're applying for a job interview. That's what you're saying. No, they're running for president. So why are you saying this? Like, did you actually listen to the debate?
None of them, to me, even attempted to sort of project the kind of stature a president would have, other than at times Mike Pence,
I was
who, of course, was the most.
Really? Did you guys hear that? Oh, there are times Mike Pence. Why? Because Mike Pence doesn't agree with Donald Trump. I'm done. Like, I think she's just talking just to, you know how the person talks just to hear themselves speak, but they're not really saying anything. This is Joy Reid with her purple hair or whatever color hair is that. It's really bothering me. That hair with the shirt in her skin tone, it's not a good look. Then you get this in the back, it's all black in the back. Then you got this on the top, and you're on MSNBC, and I'm pretty sure you're making 7 figures a year. You could have a better hairstylist. How about that? Forget the presidential debate. Better hairstylist. You need to seek one out and get rid of that 27 pieces. That's a 26 quick weave piece. Get rid of that. Stop it with the madness. And it's probably messing with your brain because you don't know what you're talking about.
I think Mike Pence exceeded expectations in terms of being a more nimble debater. Absolutely. Than you might have expected him to be, more forceful and more punchy, I think, in terms of his.
May I'm just retarded. Rachel Maddow, for real. Like, what's going on here? Like, Rachel. I think Rachel is maybe going through some type of changes with her face. She kind of looked more like a man now. But what are you saying, Rachel? What are you saying? We're talking about a debate that happened. And I don't think you guys even listened to the debate.
His fighting with Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy certainly, I think, was the dominant figure in the debate, for good or for ill. I'm not sure he did himself any favors in terms of people liking him, but he took up the most airtime. It sort of felt like he was the snappy podcast host, and it was his podcast, and everybody else was his guest.
But that's what you're supposed to do. It's a debate. Debate, you come to debate. You're supposed to be snappy. You're supposed to react. You're supposed to stand firm on your beliefs. If you believe in something, that's what you're supposed to do. Now, would that happen if Donald Trump was there? I think Vivek would have held his own, but you probably would have got less airtime. Less airtime from it. And you probably would have never heard of Mike Pence and Nikki Haley. They probably wouldn't have got a chance to speak. So actually, Donald Trump did them a solid by not showing up. But we're talking about a debate. Do you actually know what a debate means, Rachel? And what's her name? Dang, I forget what the lady name is. Joy and Rachel. Do you know what a debate means? Like, I don't understand. I did not understand. Raj says she was watching the old debate from way back when. Like, I think she was. What debate were you watching? Because this is not what I watch. Even the highlights. The highlights did not reflect what they just said. So I'm kind of confused. But this is MSNBC. They have to, cater to their audience. And their audience is liberals. And of course, they're going to say, oh, no one stood out presidentially besides Mike Pence, the most awkward person in the room. I mean, Mike Pence, like, remember that one time Mike Pence had that fly on his head? I mean, a normal person would like, shoo, fly. He just let the fly stay on his head. It's like, come on now, we're Mike Pence. All the people, you saying Mike Pence was the better person in this debate. I just don't understand. I don't understand that. This is Alex Wagner. She carries the same sentiment. She's saying that even in a Trumpless debate, the shroud of anger and grievance colors everything. There's no offering a vision for the country. This is the propaganda that they're spreading because they know their audience didn't watch this debate. I didn't get none of that anger. I mean, there was some points, and this is what happens in a debate. You go back and forth, tit for tat. Sometimes you get personal, sometimes you don't. But you go tit for tat. You call out people, oh no, that's your stance, and your stance is this, and you did this, blah, 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 blah. That's what you do in a debate. So when you say anger, just because they have a debate, they wasn't mudslinging. But this is what she said.
Democrats and liberal elites and Joe Biden. And I was struck in the second hour of the debate, because I was occupied in the first, by the fact that even in a Trumpless debate, the shroud of anger and grievance colors everything. I mean, when you talk about people's good moments, it's not because they're offering some brilliant vision or showing humor or humanity or charisma. It's like Nikki Haley got really mad at Vivek Ramaswamy and said that he has no foreign policy experience and it shows. Or, Chris Christie landed one on Vivek Ramaswamy. I mean, it's not Vivek Ramaswamy being the whipping post of all of this. But even the crowd, the Brett Baer moment, the having to scold the crowd. There was a time in American politics when winning wasn't just about who was the angriest, who was the meanest, who landed the punch most directly. And it is so clear to me that one of the myriad ways in which Trump has transformed the GOP is by making it a party that is driven by rage and is.
Stop it with the nonsense. I didn't get not one rageful. I wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe they said that. Did you guys get that? A gasp? Like, were you like, oh my God, I can't believe. Now, if Trump was there, we were like, oh my God, Trump is in his nail, but he wasn't there, and that didn't happen. So what are we saying here? Are you saying you're trying to make a narrative that you're saying that there was rage and these people are not being dignified? They're not dignified enough to do their job. They're not dignified enough to make talking points or debate their talking points without being angry. Of course, they were passionate about what they believe in. They should be. You're running for the leader of the free world, America, the home of the free, land of the brave. We don't want somebody like Mike Pence. Get mad about it. Yeah, we want to see that. We want to see passion. So what are you saying, lady? What is she saying? But this is MSNBC. Of course, they're gonna go with this narrative saying it was anger. That, to me, that's really ludicrous. I didn't get that. If it was an angry debate, then all the highlights would say, oh my goodness, this debate was real ghetto. None of the highlights said that. Most of the highlights that I've seen, they said Vivek stole the show. You know? He stole the show. He stuck with his talking points. And like Governor Christie, he was on MSNBC this morning talking about the debate. Because he didn't steal the show. He had one little highlight when he made that joke about ChatGPT, but nobody could remember what he's standing on, what he's running for. Because NBC is probably owning all these people on here. You know, we really have to worry about, okay, so we're electing these officials and they've been in office for quite some time. Who's in their pocket? Or who pocket are they in? Who's promoting Governor Christie? Matter of fact, what's the point of Chris Christie running? He's not the governor anymore, but what's the point of him running? Does anyone know what's the point of him running? He knows he's not going to win. Did somebody pay him to run? So I don't even Nikki Haley, okay, I want to run, but you know you're not going to win. So what's the point? But this is him. He's talking about Donald Trump again.
Hard answer for them either.
You told some truth last night that in the parallel universe shouldn't be that difficult to tell, but you and Asa Hutchinson seem to be the only one able to do it, which is that Donald Trump's conduct around January 6th, around the 2020 election, whatever you think about these prosecutions of him now, was wrong.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know it was going to cut out. Sorry about that.
In the parallel universe shouldn't be that difficult to tell, but you and Asa Hutchinson seem to be the only one able to do it, which is that Donald Trump's conduct around January 6th, around the 2020 election, whatever you think about these prosecutions of him now, was wrong, was unforgivable. You also did not raise your hand in this moment, you and Asa Hutchinson, when the candidates were asked, would you still support Donald Trump as the candidate if he were convicted? You could see some of them, including Governor DeSantis, look down the aisle to see if everyone else is raising their hand, and then he joined in. Why is it, not for you, but why is it so difficult for these other candidates to tell those very basic truths, not even talking about policy, but basic truths that you told about the Constitution last night?
I can only assume it's because they're auditioning for what they pray will be a future vice presidential nomination or cabinet bid in a Trump administration. The problem for them is going to be Donald Trump's never going to be president of the United States again. And it becomes more and more clear to me every day that folks around this country, especially independents and disaffected Republicans, are not going to rejoin the Trump coalition based upon his conduct over the last, 3 years since he left the presidency. And so I think these are all political strategic decisions that these folks are making. And it's got to matter whether someone says they're willing to suspend the Constitution that they took an oath to preserve, protect, and defend. That's just wrong. It's not a hard answer for me. And it's not a hard answer for them either. but they're playing a political game.
I think you're playing a political game, Christy. You're playing a political game. Even if Donald Trump doesn't win, why are you running? Why are you running? So it's like you're trying to call people out for what they're doing, but why are you doing it? Anywho, so Donald Trump wasn't there. He was with Tucker Carlson. And they received almost 200 million views on this 40-minute interview with Tucker Carlson. And, he talked about Kamala Harris. He talked about Joe Biden being incompetent. But I think he did himself a favor. And who's ever running his campaign, I think he did the right thing not to be on that debate stage, because he really doesn't need to be there. His supporters are his supporters. Some people he's gained support because of the state where America is with gender ideology. He's been firm on what he's planning to do with gender ideology and take away those clinics that gender affirming care clinics, so he's running on that. And the open border policy, he ran on that a couple of years ago, or his last presidential election. And so everybody already know what Donald Trump stands for. So I think he did himself a favor not being there. And is he the real winner? Probably so, if he got 200 million views. This is him talking about Kamala Harris.
And the bigger, the tougher the leader.
So back to Biden, I'm interested. So you think he's failing? He obviously is failing. I think it's clear to everybody. But that would make Kamala Harris the candidate?
Well, not really. I mean, I guess they'd have maybe a free-for-all. A lot of people say she has to remain for certain reasons, the candidate. She has to. I don't think that's true, actually. I don't think that other people would stand for it. She has some bad moments. Her moments are almost as bad as his. I think his are worse, actually.
Yeah.
But
she seems pretty senile, too.
She speaks in rhyme. It's weird. It's weird. But she has bad moments. And
in rhyme? What do you?
Well, the way she talks, the bus will go here and then the bus will go there, because that's what buses do. And it's weird. The whole thing is weird. This is not a president of the United States future. And I think they probably have some kind of a primary and other people will get involved.
Newsom, right? I
mean, could be. I mean, I always got along well with him, believe it or not. But could be him, could be somebody else. He's got a big load on his shoulders, because you look at California, what's happened. But I don't know if the American people really, the people that vote for him, I don't even know if they care. You look at so many of the things that are going on, and people don't seem to be. In the old days, if you had a bad record, it meant a lot. Today, if you have a bad record, it doesn't really mean anything. He looks good. He's a nice-looking guy, speaks well. But Biden, every time you watch him talking, it's like he's walking on eggs. You're waiting for him to collapse. And he almost always does. And I got to know the leaders of all of the countries, essentially, but the big ones. And the bigger, the tougher the leader.
So he does have a point. Who wants to see Kamala Harris as the president? Raise your hand, put a 1 in the chat if you want to see Kamala Harris as president. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to see Kamala Harris as president. So Biden, I think Biden, he's on his last leg. Not to say he's going to die or anything like that, but I know the Democrat Party needs to look to see, okay, who's going to fill in if Biden becomes not competent. And right now, I don't think he's competent right now. I don't think he has the oomph, so, but I don't think the Democratic Party will support Kamala Harris as president. So Gavin Newsom, I've been hearing a lot of talks about Gavin Newsom. So maybe he's supposed to fill in for Joe Biden. Is he electable? No, because look at California. Just look at the state of California. California is one of the worst states in the United States of America. Who wants to live to California? Matter of fact, they gone down in population since Gavin Newsom's been in office. I think like 10%. Their population decreased by 10% since Gavin's been in office. So who's going to elect Gavin Newsom? So he does have a point. And who wants to see Kamala Harris in office? Because that's what they got to think about. That's what the Democrat Party got to think about. If they're trying to really win an election, Biden's not reelectable. Nobody likes him. Besides the people from MSNBC, they speak highly of him, and the people from The View, which I believe they were canceled. So who actually likes Joe Biden? Nobody. Okay. So Donald Trump, he wasn't on the stage last night, but he was with Tucker Carlson, and he got 200 million views yesterday. Also, with Donald Trump, he's expected to return to court, turn himself in. Then you got people outside of Fulton County jail, the courthouse, supporting Donald Trump.
One day, once the left arrest President Trump.
This is a Chinese person or Asian American, not for sure. She's just talking with broken English, but she's supporting Donald Trump.
So I go so I bring my flag, go to Mar-a-Lago bridge to support him. But when I buy bread line, they are not allow me bring my stick. So now I just have this, but it's okay. We all love Trump. If you can report this story to other people, no cut, appreciate it. Thank you.
In this country on free speech. What about you? I got the seat right on the corner.
So these are people outside.
They call enabling Christian women. Check yourself. I am a Christian woman.
One day,
this guy, he said ends for Trump. And he said Fannie Willis is full of crap.
Justice system. That's why I'm here to support President Trump. You want to know why I'm here to support President Trump? Because they done did black men like this for decades. Make up charges and put them, so I know Trump is innocent. I support Trump against this corrupt, two-tiered justice system. That's why I'm here to show my support as a black man for Trump. And I'm wearing my shirt, Niggas for Trump 2024. And I'm
why he gotta be ignorant about it though? Niggas for Trump.
I mean that.
What do you think about the indictment?
Oh, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's going around the country. Fannie Willis, she went to school with my sister. She's full of shit. She was full of shit then. So she's a puppet for the white liberal that is controlling everything. She's in front, but the white liberal back there pulling those strings, telling her what to do. That's what I think about her, making a fool of herself.
Do you think it's going to help his election?
Of course it is. It's going to elevate him all the way. I think we should make Trump king. That's how I feel. We should make him king.
Wouldn't that be like kind of like communistic?
Nah, that's nowhere near communist. Now we just gonna make him king, but we still got our freedoms and rights and everything. He fought that.
Yeah, so this guy, he said the ends for Trump. But yeah, Donald Trump is expected to turn himself in today. Let me see if they got any live video on him. Okay, yeah. So there's something going on now. No, I don't want to do that. They said it's live, but it's not live, actually. But yeah, so Donald Trump is supposed to turn himself in today at Fulton County. And this is for, Fannie Willis. They're charging him with 41 counts of stuff. That RICO charge was just totally ludicrous. And the connections with efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election results in Georgia. And there's 18 co-defendants. They have, I guess, till tomorrow, though. I think it was August the 25th, they're supposed to turn themselves in. Another thing, Donald Trump, he changed his lawyers. Donald Trump actually changed his lawyers. Let me see if I can find the clip. Oh, this is it. Oh, they took it down. Look at that. I wonder why they took it down. Anyway, Donald Trump changed his lawyers. The guy that's defending him now, he defended T.I. Some other big time names, celebrities. Let me see if I can find the. His name is Steve Shadow. Yeah, his name is Steve Shadow. Trump makes changes to legal team, hires attorney who represented Atlanta rapper Steve Shadow. It says, I have been retained to represent President Trump in Fulton County, Georgia case. The president should never have been indicted. He is innocent of all charges brought against him. We look forward to the case being dismissed, or if necessary, an unbiased, open-mind jury finding the president not guilty. Prosecution intended to advance or serve the ambitions and careers of political opponents of the president have no place in our justice system. So that's that. So he changed lawyers, and I said he should have never been indicted. These are all frivolous charges, but that's what the attorney is saying. I mean, no person in their right mind would think that, okay, let's charge him with the RICO charge. This criminal, you're saying he's a criminal mastermind. You know, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It says Findling has served as Trump lead attorney in the over 2-year election interference probe by Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis. Findling negotiated earlier this week a $200,000 bond for Trump after he turns himself in. Officials have not said why Findling left the team. You know, Trump changed his lawyers like he's changing his underwear, so we can't. It's all speculations right now. Let's see if it plays. For some reason, it's not playing. Anyway, so you guys, there you have it. You know, Trump, if it actually, they actually stream that, him turning himself in, I might go live a little later on this evening to talk about it. But if not, you guys, you enjoy the rest of your day. I am sending all my good to you. I will talk to you soon.